53 years after independence, Nigeria is not just failing to fulfill its promise, it appears on the brink of crisis. From poor road and rail infrastructure to electricity and power shortages, from Boko Haram and the state of emergency in the north to tensions in the Niger Delta, life for the majority of Nigerians is a constant source of frustration. The only success story of sorts is that of the oil industry, but some say that's more of a curse than a blessing. Cynicism is rife among Nigerians, especially in the 3/4 of the population who still live in poverty despite their nation's obvious wealth.
There are concerns that the country's growth, which has consistently been in the region of 6.5% for about a decade now, could come under serious challenges.
The bigger the economy in the real sense of it, the more difficult it is to move at a very high speed.
It has been a tumultuous few weeks in Africa's most populous state. At the beginning of April, Nigeria officially took South Africa's crown as the biggest economy in the continent, albeit based on newly recalculated GDP figures. But just days later, Islamic sect Boko Haram killed more than 70 people in a bomb attack in the capital, Abuja. The assault coincided with the mass kidnapping of more than 200 schoolgirls in northern Nigeria.
I was in Nigeria, 7 weeks back? Yeah. And it's impossible to not get caught up in the infectious sort of excitement about that place. And I find myself thinking, and maybe this is me behaving bubble-like, I find myself having some sympathy to this notion that this could be Africa's moment. I think there are sort of three broad things that are sort of happening that give. And of course I should add, the idea that you can regard Africa as one is kind of ridiculous. You've got south, east, west, north.
More than 50 countries. Yeah.
All completely different. But ignoring that important point, it could be for many of these countries their moment. Three reasons. Number one is a lot of them have obviously had a lot of this commodity boost a la Brazil and Russia. Importantly, some of them don't appear to have squandered it quite as much as those two may have done. Second, but that could be a problem as well, but the other two are something more unique. First of all, the era of modern technology that we're going through with the internet and mobile, for very undeveloped societies, these are things that can allow stepping through generations, and I saw it in Nigeria. So in banking or in agriculture, the way creative people can introduce technologies to create markets that can have huge impact on productivity for the most basic forms of life. Incredible.
The rebasing of Nigeria's GDP has been a long time in coming, but after several postponements, Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics has decided now is the right time to do it.
PricewaterhouseCoopers recently released a report stating that Nigeria should be the 13th largest economy in the world by 2050.
2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, Nigeria was not on the map. We came this year and said, look, let's take a close look at it. And when we peeled it back, what we found out was, first, Nigeria has the highest growth rate in the labor force in the world. More than double any other country over this period. Now, I spent most of last year in Japan working on our report on the future of Japan. Japan's labor force has been shrinking since 1994. It's hard to grow when your labor force is not growing.
I thought I'd just come here and talk about young people and job creation and the usual stuff we talk about, until a group of young ladies came to me to explain that I was actually expected to speak in 16 to 18 minutes about one idea that can change the world. Now that was crazy because I don't have any ideas that can change the world, and the thing with young people is that they're the most difficult audience to address. I have found myself in situations where I address people of your generation, and frankly the questions I get are more incisive, more intelligent, more thought-provoking than the questions I get from people of my generation at all levels.
Secondly, with it, we have a generation of leaders in one or two places, or maybe more than one or two, of younger people that are not part of the sort of inheritance of post-colonial ownership. A lot of them trained in the West, and they've gone back. I know a guy that used to work at Goldman that's in cabinet in Nigeria, and they're committed to applying some of the things they've learned from the West to trying to do what they can to reduce corruption and try and bring these places into a sort of more normal life. And so all of that is kind of quite exciting.